4, 3, 2, 1.
In our courtside countdown, we blast off in Houston, where Rocket Kenny Smith never runs out of fuel.
Goes behind the back, is fouled, it goes, and a three-point opportunity coming up.
At number 9, Doug West propels himself over the Pacers.
I can see him slide through there. Look at it, climb the ladder. Get it, Dougie Fresh.
It's the final moments in Miami, and time for some tasty teamwork.
Larry Johnson smash. It goes to Kendall Gill.
For number 7, the Bullets' Michael Adams dazzles him in Dallas.
Adams behind him, back to Buck Johnson. Well, that brought some oohs and ahs from the crowd.
This little fella is not afraid to take it into the pack.
Takes on the big guys. 10 points now for Pack.
We're playing 5-card draw, and we come up with a royal flush.
Rejected Anderson. A royal count. Cal Royal. O'Neal predicts. Steps through. Oh, what a play.
In Chicago, Craig Elo gores the Bulls.
Elo from center court. Oh, he got it. It's good. It's good.
For number 3, don't blink, because you might miss Action Jackson.
Switches in the air. Chris Texan putting on a show.
It's timber for Houston, compliments of Minnesota's Bob McCann.
Oh, my goodness. That is not easy, folks. Not without the foul.
And for our number 1 play of the week, Shaq takes it to the rack.
Transition. Oh, what a dunk. Hey, look at him look back at Mourning. Oh, he came flying out of nowhere.
He sort of said, well, couldn't you stop that big fella? I don't know if there's a man alive that could have stopped that slam.
This is Roscoe for NBA Action. Next week, we travel to the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, Utah for the 43rd Annual All-Star Game. And we'll also look back at a memorable first half of the 1993 season.
Here's Jackson at the buzzer. Yes!
See all the faces and all the action as we go slam dunking with the NBA, the All-Star Game. Next.
What time is it?
Ken's got it right up into the end. Whose game is it? It's Michael Jordan's game.
The mailman delivers.
Less than a second. There's Donovan.
Three-pointer.
Did you see that?
Yes! Yes!
How high can you get up?
Hello and welcome to the NBA All-Star Game live on Screen Sport. My name is Mike Carlson, and they've had heavy snow in Salt Lake City, but it's still a full house of almost 20,000 in the Delta Center. Before we go to the Delta Center, let's take a look at how the NBA season has gone so far this year. And the NBA season opened with 2 big questions. Number 1, could the Chicago Bulls become the first team to three-peat since the Boston Celtics in the 60s? And number 2, would the arrival of the man-child into the promised land change the balance of power among the NBA giants? The Dream Team cruised to Olympic glory, but that proved the last hurrah for 2 stars who came into the league together in 1979, fresh from the NCAA final. Larry Bird's Celtics and Magic Johnson's Lakers dominated the 80s. 14 years later, they left together. New stars replace old ones in the NBA firmament, and Shaquille O'Neal was merely the brightest light in a galaxy of new talent to reach the NBA this year. Did I say merely? Alonzo Mourning would be a legitimate Rookie of the Year in most seasons. Tom Gugliotta looks like the second coming of Larry Bird. Christian Laettner's already lost more games in Minnesota than he did in 4 years at Duke. Anthony Peeler's in the starting lineup for the Lakers and scoring. Robert Horry's been there all year for Houston and scoring a ton. In Philadelphia, Doug Moe needed a replacement for Charles Barkley. He got a look-alike in Clarence Weatherspoon. Latrell Sprewell's one of those 6'5" guards Don Nelson loves. Harold Miner looks like Michael Jordan in Miami. And LaFonso Ellis has been the starting power forward in Denver from day one. New stars come and go, but his Michaelness airs on. But there's some discontent in Chicago, where Phil Jackson has tried to come up with a new mix. Michael's still rolling up the points, but apart from Scottie Pippen, no one else has been consistent for the Bulls. The Bulls are still looking safe in the Central Division, but Cleveland's right on their tails, still relying on Mark Price. And right behind Cleveland comes Charlotte, whose front court with Alonzo Mourning joining Larry Johnson is now rated officially awesome. As the worm turns, so goes Detroit. With Dennis Rodman in the lineup, the Pistons are contenders. Without him, they're chumps. Pat Riley's completely rebuilt Knicks are the Jekyll and Hyde act of the NBA. One day mugging opponents like Jack the Ripper, and the next playing like the Keystone Cops. All the ingredients, but he can't make a stew. It's the same thing in Boston, where Chris Ford needs a power forward who'll rebound, a point guard who'll pass, a small forward who'll play D, and none of them is Xavier McDaniel. A new set of legs for Robert Parrish and Kevin McHale might help too. Chuck Daly has the New Jersey Nets playing basketball for a change. Drazen Petrovic and Kenny Anderson have answered their many critics and teamed to form a strong backcourt. The Nets signed Bernard King, who was unwelcome in Washington just before the All-Star break. But how Bernard King will fit in on a team with volatile personalities like Derek Coleman and Chris Morris is a good question. Jerry Tarkanian is sad because he didn't last long in San Antonio, but his replacement, John Lucas, turned the Spurs into happy campers and playoff contenders. Mr. Robinson is no longer carrying the burden because Sean Elliott is scoring and has played himself into the All-Star team. And Lucas has point guard Avery Johnson playing like a star as well. The Jazz are feeling the pressure and the Spurs are now in first place. Utah's still the Stockton and Malone show. The Jazz changed some of the supporting cast, but still only used them as bit players. The mailman still delivers Stockton's passes to the hoop, but is that going to be enough? Hakeem Olajuwon was unhappy in Houston, but you'd never know it by the way he's playing, and the Rockets are right behind the Spurs and the Jazz. And spare a thought for poor Dallas. They couldn't sign top draft pick Jimmy Jackson, and they couldn't win more than 4 games in the first half of the season. Now in the NBA, if you can trade 3 good players for 1 great player, do it. And that's what Phoenix did, and Sir Charles Barkley has the Suns playing the NBA's best ball and sitting pretty atop the Pacific Division. Barkley hasn't done it all by himself. Richard Dumas, one of John Lucas's drug rehabilitation projects, is looking like a star. And veteran Danny Ainge has replaced Jeff Hornacek perfectly. The Suns will shine through the playoffs, but they're watching out for Seattle. George Karl has the Sonics running, and in Sean Kemp, he has one of the NBA's major power sources. Phoenix and Seattle are going to make it hard for Portland to reach another NBA final. Clyde Drexler's knee is still not 100%, but Rod Strickland is fit in brilliantly. He gives them the best 3-guard rotation in the NBA. And Cliff Robinson could be the NBA's best 6th man. And in LA, neither the Lakers nor the Clippers look ready for prime time. Now the standings.
City. I'm Larry Johnson of the Charlotte Hornets. Watch exciting NBA action right here.
And welcome back to the Delta Center in Salt Lake City. Mike Carlson, and now I am joined by Alton Bird, who still think that the Golden State Warriors are in with a chance.
You did have trouble saying that, Golden State Warriors. I know that you had significant troubles, especially when you mentioned the Boston Celtics.
So now let's take a look at the starting lineups for this game. The 10 best players in the world today. Looks like WrestleMania here. We've got a real set for the introduction of the All-Star Game starters. And leading off is the East point guard. Comes from the Detroit Pistons, Isaiah Thomas.
Well, a lot of people call him Pocket Magic. He is one of Magic Johnson's best friends, and
Chicago i Nova York van disputar un partit intensíssim a l'Stadium, sens dubte el més interessant de la setmana. L'equip de Pat Riley guanyava per 10 punts al descans 49-39, però un parcial de 12-0 dels Bulls va acabar amb la sorpresa. Els Knicks van decebre en la segona part i només van ser capaços de fer 28 punts. La clau, doncs, dels actuals campions, la defensa ordenada per Phil Jackson. Scottie Pippen a B.J. Armstrong. Novament Pippen, que entra i supera sense problemes Anthony Mason. Scottie va fer 16 punts. Michael Jordan no només anota, també passa assistència de bandera a Rodney McCray. Un bàsquet de Rolando Blackman en aquesta jugada. Era el primer dels Knicks en 6 minuts en el tercer període. La gran figura del partit, Michael Jordan, que va fer 42 punts. Però en aquesta jugada el que és destacable és la recuperació de Pippen, significativa de la gran defensa dels Bulls. Jordan després ho té fàcil per esmaixar. L'última jugada del partit també és una esmaixada de Jordan que va fer gairebé el 50% de punts del seu equip, perquè el resultat va ser de 89-77. Atlanta-Orlando. Triple de Mookie Blaylock al límit de la mitja part. Però els Hawks són poca cosa sense Dominic Wilkins, que